video was uploaded by Humble is the Way.
He was not inviting people to a funeral. He was not inviting people to a jailhouse. He was inviting folk to a feast, a supper. They could eat and drink and enjoy themselves, and it was all free. It was not only all free, but it was all free to everybody. It was not relegated or restricted to class or ethnic groups or economic levels of people. It was a feast that was free. All you had to do was just come. Now, Jesus is making a very powerful point. He is saying, this man prepared a supper. It was free. And he invited the blind, the halt, the lame, the poor. Everybody could come. You didn't have to qualify. And it's free. And then the Bible says, one by one, they begin to make excuses. And the point that he is trying to make by giving this parable is, when it comes to salvation, people make excuses. But what Jesus also does here, he shows how frivolous the excuses are. He shows how naive and inane these excuses are. And he says, when he gives the parable, he makes it so poignant that those who are unsaved will say, that's not a real excuse. And so it's so plain, it is so clear, that even those who are unsaved will agree that the excuses given by these people does not hold water. But what he really wants to get you to see is, if you are unsaved, you are without excuse. Now quickly, and we're not going to have time to do all of this today, we'll do it tonight. Let's look at the first man's excuse. Let's look at it rationally. The first man excuse. Now the first man said what?
And they all with one consent began to make excuses.
Now the Bible says, and they, in verse 18, now verse 17 says, and sent his servant at supper time to say to them that were bidden, come, for all things
are now ready.
All things are ready. You don't have to do anything. Everything is ready for you. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to make anything. You don't have to go to school. You don't have to have a degree. You don't have to drive a Mercedes. You don't have to have a pretty suit or a dress. You don't have to have a beautiful hairdo. That's not the qualification. All things are ready. All you have to do is just come. But then the Bible says, one by one, they began to make excuses. And what happened?
The first said
unto him,
I have bought a piece of ground.
I bought a piece of ground.
And I must needs go and see it. I pray thee have me excused.
I can't come. I can't come to the feast. It's free. All things are ready. I don't have to pay anything. I'm going to get a free meal. But here's why I can't come. I bought a piece of ground. And I must needs
go and see it.
Go and see it. Now let's be real. Let's be real. I would go, but I gotta go see this piece of ground that I bought. Now let's be real. If you're gonna buy a piece of ground, you go see it before you buy it. You see what an excuse looks like? You see, say, and not only that, it was not like it was urgent because you've already bought it. You see, it's not like somebody is standing there that's going to outbid you. You already got the contract. So you could come to the feast and go see it because it ain't going nowhere. But you see, here's the bottom line. He didn't want to go. See, that's the bottom line. See, the bottom line is, I don't want to go. And as a result, he made an excuse. But look how frivolous it is. Anybody can see through that. I mean, the kids in this house can see through that excuse. When he says, I've already bought it, that says it. It's yours. But what he's going to do is he's going to put that before going to that feast. And then let's look at the second man's excuse.
And another said, I have bought 5 yoke of oxen.
Now watch this. You see, look at these excuses, Thomas. You see, this is the good church sermon. I'm just turning this thing around. But this is the good church. Church folk make excuses. Yes, they do. Church folk make excuses. You ask a church lady, we need you to do this right along in here. And you watch what they tell you. Excuse. Not a reason. Excuse. See, but that's not what I'm talking about this morning. This is evangelistic this morning. Thomas, the man says, I have bought 5
yoke of oxen.
Yoke of oxen.
And I got to prove them. And I
go
to prove them.
Now the word prove means test. Now I gotta go test them. Now let's be real. If you go buy some oxen, you don't buy them and then test them, Louis. You test them before you buy them. That's an excuse. It's an excuse. The oxen are already in the stall. They're already in the barn. They're at your house. They locked down. Well, why you got to go test them? You test the ox before you buy it. If you want to look in the ox's mouth, you look in the ox's mouth before you buy him. If you want to check his legs out, you check his legs out before you buy him. But the real deal is, didn't want to go. Now watch this third guy. Let's check this third guy.
And another said,
said what?
I have married a wife.
Huh?
I have married a wife, and therefore I cannot come.
Now the first two says, pray that I might be excused. But this third guy said, I just got married.
Therefore I cannot
You don't need to pray for me. I ain't coming. Well, you got people like that. You got people who say, I don't care what you say, I ain't going. You know, it's like Sunday night service. You know, I don't need no excuse. Don't be praying for me that I might be stronger. I ain't gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? The church folk, that's turning it around. I didn't mean to turn this around. Listen. And so he said, I'm married a wife.
And therefore I cannot come.
Therefore,
I cannot
ain't
come.
no way in the world for me to get out there. Because I just married this wife. Well, if he really wanted to go, he could have brought her with him. Because wives like to eat. particularly when it's free.